He hadn't taken a single day off in 9 years. Not when he had the flu, not when his car broke down, not even the week his wife was buried. So when Daniel Harper finally sat down at a small seaside restaurant, laughing softly across the table from someone he loved more than life itself, he believed, just for one afternoon, that he was allowed to be happy. What he didn't know was that someone from the office was watching. What his boss didn't know was exactly who he was dining with. And by the time she found out, it would be too late to undo what she had done. Stay with this story until the end, because sometimes the people we underestimate the most are carrying battles and blessings we never see coming. Daniel Harper was the kind of man who blended into the background. At 38, with faint lines of exhaustion permanently etched around his eyes, he had mastered the art of invisibility. He showed up early. He left late. He volunteered for extra shifts. He never argued, never complained. Never complained. Never asked for more. Ever since his wife Emily passed away 9 years earlier during complications after giving birth, Daniel's world had shrunk to two things: his job at the corporate marketing firm and his daughter, Lily. Lily had been just 3 days old when Daniel stood alone in a hospital corridor, holding her in trembling arms, trying to comprehend how joy and devastation could arrive in the same breath. From that day forward, he promised himself two things. Lily would never feel unloved, and she would never feel unstable. That meant he couldn't afford risks. So he worked. He worked through birthdays, through holidays, through grief anniversaries. He skipped company retreats and team-building vacations because someone had to pick Lily up from school. He turned down promotions that required relocation because Lily's memories of her mother were in that small town house. His boss, Victoria Langford, admired results, and Daniel delivered them. Victoria was known for being sharp, efficient, and utterly unsentimental. She had built the company's regional branch from near bankruptcy into one of the most profitable divisions in the state. She respected dedication, but only when it benefited the company. Daniel's personal life, irrelevant. For 9 years, Daniel had not taken a single vacation day. Not one. So when Lily turned 9, the same age as the number of years since Emily's death, Daniel felt something shift inside him. Lily had been quieter lately, old enough to understand absence, old enough to ask questions. Daddy, she had asked one evening, when was the last time we did something fun? Just us? He didn't have an answer. That night, after she fell asleep clutching her stuffed rabbit, Daniel opened his laptop and did something he hadn't done in nearly a decade. He requested 3 days off. His finger hovered over the submit button for almost a full minute before he clicked it. The next morning, Victoria called him into her glass-walled office. "We're requesting leave?" she asked, eyebrows raised. Daniel replied calmly. Just 3 days. She tapped her pen against the desk. "You realize we're approaching the quarterly review. I've already prepared the projections. Marcus can handle the client meetings." Victoria studied him. She had always seen Daniel as reliable machinery, predictable, consistent. Seeing him request time off felt almost disruptive. "For what reason?" she asked. Daniel hesitated. "Her personal." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "A fine. 3 days. But I expect you available by phone." He nodded. "Thank you." 3 days later, Daniel and Lily stood barefoot on warm sand, waves curling around their ankles. Lily squealed as the ocean tickled her feet, sunlight dancing across her bright brown eyes. Daniel felt something he hadn't felt in years: lightness. They spent the morning building sandcastles, the afternoon collecting seashells, and as evening fell, Daniel took Lily to a small seaside restaurant overlooking the water. She wore a simple blue sundress. He wore the only button-down shirt he owned that didn't have coffee stains. They sat across from each other, laughing over a shared dessert. Lily raised her glass of sparkling apple juice. "Up to our first vacation." Daniel lifted his glass of iced tea. To many more. Neither of them noticed the woman seated at a nearby table, sunglasses shielding her eyes. Victoria had come to the same coastal town for a networking retreat. She had stepped out for dinner, and there he was, Daniel Harper, on company time, laughing, relaxed, holding a drink. From her angle, she couldn't see Lily clearly. She only saw Daniel across from someone she assumed was a woman. Dark hair pulled up, a splash of blue fabric. Victoria's jaw tightened. Dedicated employees didn't look that carefree during critical review season. The next morning, Daniel returned to the office refreshed for the first time in years. Victoria called him in immediately. "I saw you," she said coldly. Daniel blinked. "Saw me? At the beach, drinking, enjoying yourself." Her voice dripped with accusation. "While the team carried your responsibilities, I completed all my assignments," Daniel replied carefully. And I was on approved leave." Victoria leaned forward. "The company doesn't pay you to lounge around." "I used my accumulated vacation days." Her expression hardened. "Effective immediately, your services are no longer required." The words hit like a physical blow. "You're firing me?" Daniel asked quietly. "For lack of commitment." For a moment, Daniel considered arguing, listing the late nights, the sacrifices, the hospital days he worked remotely with a fever, the 9 years without a break. Instead, he stood. "I understand," he said softly. He packed his belongings into a small cardboard box, 9 years reduced to office supplies and a framed photo of Lily. When he got home that evening, Lily ran to the door. Daddy, can we go back next summer?" Daniel knelt down, forcing a smile. "We'll see, sweetheart." That night, after Lily fell asleep, Daniel sat at the kitchen table staring at unpaid bills. Fear crept in, but beneath it, something else stirred. Relief. For the first time in 9 years, he wasn't tethered to that glass-walled office, and Victoria had no idea what she had just set in motion. Unemployment is a strange kind of silence. The first week after losing his job, Daniel woke up at 5:30 a.m. out of habit. He brewed coffee automatically, only to realize he had nowhere to be. Lily watched him carefully. Just home for a bit. He applied for jobs during the day, but something unexpected happened. He started noticing things. He noticed Lily struggling with math homework because he'd never been home early enough to help. He noticed the small garden Emily once loved had grown wild. Odd. He noticed how exhausted he actually was. One afternoon, while cleaning out old boxes in the garage, Daniel found a leather-bound notebook. Emily's handwriting filled its pages. It was a business plan. Before Lily was born, Emily had dreamed of opening a small creative design studio, ethical branding, sustainable marketing, storytelling for small businesses. Daniel had forgotten how detailed it was. Market research, budget forecasts, branding ideas. Tucked into the last page was a note. "If we ever get scared, promise me we won't choose safe over meaningful." Daniel sat on the garage floor for a long time. He had chosen safe for 9 years. That evening, he made a decision. He withdrew part of his modest savings and registered a small consulting firm under Emily's name. The first few weeks were brutal. Rejections, unanswered emails, doubt. But Daniel had something he hadn't had in years: time. He attended local business meetups, with Lily sometimes coloring beside him. He offered free strategy sessions to struggling entrepreneurs. He poured heart into every project. Word spread. Clients appreciated not just his expertise, but his sincerity. He understood small business owners because now he was one. 6 months later, his consulting firm had more clients than he could handle alone. One afternoon, he received an email from a large nonprofit seeking a long-term branding partner. The board chair's name caught his eye. Victoria Langford. He stared at the screen. Apparently, after restructuring, Victoria had left the company and joined the nonprofit sector. He considered ignoring it. Instead, he replied professionally. The meeting was scheduled at a downtown cafe. When Victoria walked in and saw him seated at the table, her confidence faltered for the first time. Daniel," she said slowly. "Victoria," he replied calmly. She looked different. Less sharp around the edges, more tired. "I didn't realize this was your firm," she admitted. "It is." There was an awkward pause. "I've heard impressive things," she continued. "Your work is highly recommended." Daniel nodded. "Thank you." She hesitated before speaking again. "I may have misjudged you." He didn't rush to respond. She exhaled. "That night at the beach, I assumed you were prioritizing pleasure over responsibility." "I was prioritizing my daughter," he said quietly. Her eyes widened slightly. "She was 9, he continued. "The same age as when her mother died. It was our first vacation in 9 years. Silence stretched between them. "I didn't know," Victoria whispered. "No," Daniel agreed. "You didn't." For a moment, the power dynamic that once defined them felt irrelevant. "I can't undo what I did," she said, "but I can offer this contract fairly." Daniel studied her. Daniel studied her. In losing his job, he had found his freedom. In choosing meaningful over safe, he had built something his daughter could be proud of. "I'll accept the project," he said finally. "But on my terms." She nodded. As they finalized details, Daniel felt no bitterness, only clarity. That evening, he picked Lily up from school. "Guess what?" she asked excitedly. "We're learning about entrepreneurs," he smiled. "That's good. What's an entrepreneur again?" Someone who builds something from their heart," he replied. She grinned. Like you," he knelt to her level. Maybe, he. A year later, Daniel's firm expanded into a bright office space with sunlight streaming through wide windows. On the wall hung a framed copy of Emily's original notebook page. Safe over meaningful. He never forgot the day he was fired, because it wasn't the day his life fell apart. It was the day it began again. And somewhere in another office, Victoria would sometimes pause before judging someone too quickly, remembering the man she once mistook for careless, not realizing he was simply a father choosing love. So if you're watching this and feel unseen, underestimated, or dismissed for choosing what truly matters, remember this: the world may misunderstand your priorities, but the right people will recognize your worth. And sometimes the door that slams shut is the very one that pushes you toward the life you are meant to build.